Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Anna Manuel. A strong mix of emotions sweeping across the country as Americans commemorate 22 years since the 9/11 attacks. And while memorial services will take place to honor the fallen, first responders are calling attention to the pain many former 9/11 rescuers are still grappling to manage. Madeline Rivera is in New York City with the latest.
The country is remembering not only the 3,000 lives lost on 9/11, but also the acts of heroism that followed the deadliest terror attack on U.S. soil.
We have the memorial pools, and I come here often, and I say my thoughts and prayers to my brother.
Friends and family members of those who were killed on September 11th are holding on to the memories of their loved ones.
The children of my sister, Diane Bullis Snyder, they have evolved into amazing human beings. And one of the things that I notice when we spend time together is that I'm blessed with a glimpse into the spirit of my sister.
Monday marks 22 years since the attacks at New York's World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and the airplane crash site in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. But while memorial ceremonies for those who died will take place across the country, the New York City Fire Department is also calling attention to 9/11 first responders still struggling with lasting health effects from handling toxic materials at Ground Zero.
For them, 9/11 is every day.
The number of firefighters who died from 9/11 related illnesses continues to rise. The FDNY recently added 43 new names.
This brings the total post-9/11 members added to the wall to 331.
And while today will carry a solemn note, New York City Mayor Eric Adams says it's important to remember how the losses brought the country together.
Remember September 12th. This city got up. When we got up, America watched.
Instead of attending the memorial events at the attack sites, President Joe Biden will honor the victims with remarks at a military base in Anchorage, Alaska, as he returns from Vietnam. In New York, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Students at Elmira College placed flags in the lawn in memory of those who lost their lives on 9/11. With a hand from first responders, they set out nearly 3,000 across the grass. A new sports complex is set to be up and running by the end of the year in downtown Elmira. Empire Basketball posted on Facebook that it had closed on the old Trinity Church property. The 4 buildings are being renovated, and the complex will be called Empire Sports of the Southern Tier. The new complex is expected to include a long list of sports activities, including cornhole leagues, basketball leagues and training, baseball batting cages, a golf simulator, along with professional office space for lease. The Woodhull Raceway is getting geared up for the Southern Tier Custom Street Stock 100 this coming Saturday, September 16th. It's a stock car racing tradition that began more than a decade ago. Glenn Rittener will be returning to defend his 2021 and 2022 Woodhull Raceway Street Stock 100 titles. Race supporters promise a host of other top-name street stock drivers will also take part. You can get more information on Saturday's race at the Woodhull Raceway's Facebook page. All 5 blocks of historic Market Street in downtown Corning will be shut down later this week for the Big Harvest Festival. The event will be held on Friday from 4 until 9 p.m. and on Saturday, September 16th from 11 a.m. until 8:30 p.m. Event organizers say you can park for free at the Centerway parking garage beginning at 5 p.m. on Friday. There will be live music, hay rides, vendors, plenty of food, a scavenger hunt, and much more. You can get all the info on the Harvest Festival at gafferdistrict.com. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has 11 days to convince some Republicans to fund the government, or it will shut down at the end of the month. Rebecca Castor has more from Washington.
While members of Congress return to Washington this week, the clock is ticking to prevent a government shutdown.
We're here today because both sides, Republicans and Democrats, have spent into oblivion, and it's untenable.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy needs to corral more GOP votes for a funding bill to prevent the shutdown. But some Republicans want to take a hatchet to the budget while beefing up border security and investigating the Justice Department.
Do the job that we need to do to secure the border of the United States and get our government focused where it needs to focus.
The top House Republican could use an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden as a playing card. Far-right conservatives want the president impeached for his possible involvement in his son Hunter Biden's business dealings. A government shutdown could halt any investigation.
We need to show the American people all of the evidence that we uncover. We have to win in the court of public opinion so people can decide whether or not this guy who sold out his country for millions and millions of dollars should be president.
Some Democrats say the warring factions in the GOP could ultimately lead to inaction.
This is the constant and persistent dysfunction, chaos, and just complete disorganization on the part of the Republicans who cannot run the government.
The White House is also asking Congress to send an additional $21 billion to Ukraine, funding some Republicans say needs to be spent at home. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
The Eldridge Park Carousel Preservation Society is already looking forward to a huge season next summer. 2024 will mark the 100th anniversary of the start of the Eldridge Park amusement era. It was back in 1924 when Bob and Ruth Long brought a merry-go-round to Elmira, one that's still in use at the park today. The amusement rides at Eldridge Park closed for the season last week. It will open for the 2024 season on Memorial Day weekend. Still ahead, your complete forecast. Plus, the Internal Revenue Service says it's coming for more than 1,000 millionaires. How they plan to take down taxpayers who cut corners on taxes.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Well, September has two different stories. One of those being the warmth that we were experiencing to start off the month, bringing those temperatures into those 90s, even through the middle of last week. But then we flipped the script and talked about the cooling weather pattern that was paired up with those wet weather conditions, looking at least some type of measurable precipitation over the last 4 days, bringing us to about a ½ an inch. But we note that there have been some areas just off to our east, as we were watching yesterday, bringing flash flooding concerns due to overrunning precipitation, saturated soils, and that threat may return as we will be watching another chance for some showers on its way. Now, we haven't seen that a lot of the emphasis of wet weather has been holding well off towards the east, more of those coastal locations towards New York, but we see that our local area is still battling some of that cloud cover, some filtered sunshine though at least starting to show itself, and we'll see that as we head into our Tuesday morning, though with clear, calm, and cool conditions developing. What we'll see is that there will be some foggy conditions, especially in our valley and fog-prone regions. So make sure that you are staying wary, headlights on, take it easy, and you may want to grab the sunglasses, but you may also want to have the umbrella on hand. What we're seeing is that the day is trending to be a little drier, so continuing this short-lived break with maybe continuous clouds, chances to show some sunshine around, keeping us seasonable. But then we're noting that we will be seeing rain and thunder work its way in towards those evening hours. Local area could hold off till after sunset, which would then hold to mainly one day being a wet day, which would be our Wednesday, and maybe a few showers lingering through Thursday morning, very dependent on how quickly the low pressure system that is pushing through will be departing the area. So what we'll note is that we have some quieter skies here to start off our Tuesday. We have one system that has been departing. It was causing for some flash flooding conditions across New Jersey, up through portions of Connecticut, and now we get a little bit of a break. But here's this next system. It's a low that's going to be riding that Great Lakes region, and that's going to be sliding in those chances for some showers and thunderstorms. By the afternoon, you start to see those move across the lakes, and then by sunset, that's when they start to enter our areas. So with that threat, that does limit our severe risk and that thunder risk, but it's still going to at least allow for that passage to occur, which will bring some of those potential moderate downpours and then lead to showery weather that will linger into our Wednesday. So with us on both sides of potentially maybe seeing a few downpours, though still on the showery side, accumulation is holding to about a ½ an inch. inch. Now, if we do get those thundery downpours, we could get up to about a half an inch. If we do stay much more on the showery side, we could even hold to maybe just a few hundredths of an inch to a few tenths of an inch. So isolated flash flooding could be a possibility, especially in the evening hours, so do keep yourself wary. But with the daytime starting off on the quiet side, note that we do have seasonable temperatures, maybe a little bit even have some humidity around, but then that is quickly shut down with that passing frontal system that will bring us some cooling, but we do have some brighter skies setting up for the weekend.